Okay, we can find that later. We'll find that out later. Hi, you guys. You know what? YouTube is finally allowing me to have moderators, y'all. Um, I wanted to grow this channel very organically and be very truthful to the people that watch me. I want to be true to myself, to the people that watch me, and to the people who see my progress going along, because I don't want to open my mouth and just be like a lot of people that I see on here, just saying stuff just to say stuff. That's not cool. And I will gladly remind people that you will be charged for every fictitious fallacy nonsense word that you spew out, whether you did it knowingly or unknowingly. And that has really gotten me to thinking and being more cautious as to what I spew out, what I say, and most of all, what I put out on this channel. A couple of things have been happening during these last few days, dealing with the people in my community. Excuse me, the people in my community, as well as people around the globe. And I've noticed more and more that people are really into themselves. When you hear people say, get back to yourself, get in tune with yourself, invest in yourself, sometimes people mix that up with self-absorption to the point where it's narcissistic or toxic. I hate that word, but it's all consuming. It's not benefiting them or helping the people and the places that they surround or they occupy. It doesn't help the space that they occupy. And so yeah, that kind of bothers me, y'all. I really still believe that everywhere that you place your feet on is a place that you're supposed to serve, and give back to. And because of this is why I made this video, y'all. I want to talk about how do you stay away from falling into that self-absorption trap, okay? Yeah, how do you stay away from that? Because once you get into that trap, it's very hard to get out of that illusion. It is very hard. And most of the time when you're in that trap, excuse me, a lot of people fall victim to that trap because they've been hurt. They have been hurt with so much pain. I've been hurt with a lot of pain, and you go into isolation and you try to recover yourself. And sometimes people will get so afraid to come out because they've been hurt time and time again, to where they forget all of the outside world, y'all. Like, they just forget about every single thing. And that's okay for a minute, just to heal yourself. And then you point yourself into the direction that you want to go, because we know it's multiple realities out here. Y'all, it's multiple realities out here. I don't even need to explain it, because there are a lot of people who will fight you tooth and nail to defend that. So, and that's true. It's multiple realities, different belief systems. But I will tell you, you will do yourself a disservice if you do not understand a lot of these tactics that come by you when you're hurt, and you can miss out on some of the best relationships and the best friendships and the dynamics and things that can catapult your life into the direction that you actually want to go. I will start off by saying that everything happens for a reason, whether it was intentional or not, whether you acknowledge it was intentional or not, because a lot of the things that we do are intentional, y'all. It's intentional like a mug. We don't think it's intentional, but by our lack of knowledge or lack of education or lack of doing something correctly, it becomes what? It's unaware. It's unaware. Like a automatic choice. You know, being ignorant is an automatic choice for. It's an automatic choice for failure. It really is. It really is, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this light on. Okay, there we go. All right. So, yeah. So, anywho, yeah, I'm gonna talk about how you can get yourself out of that. Okay. Um, I'll share a story with myself. You guys saw how I had to break free, and the process that I went through, and I had to isolate myself, and how God was telling me do certain things and just to isolate myself and just keep working. I still had to serve. I still had to go out with other people, but I still was, as far as having this big social life, I did not have it. Now, I am a person that a lot of people know me, and I have a big personality that even if I don't say anything, people will be like, "That's Belle. Like, she's the hyper. Like, she will come in the room, like she brightens up the day." You know, um, and so when I faced a lot of hurt, especially dealing with relationships, that was one of the things that I had to face and I had to go through because I was so guarded and protected in that field in my life. Um, it took a lot out of me, and not only that, because I'm so used to, if I get hurt, I have a support system where I can reach out. I can reach out and spring out ideas and say, "Hey, I'm this and that. I'm hurting. I'm feeling this," and not having that, and then usually when I say a support system, there were like older people, some of them younger, but most of them older, who've been through, some things. They would go and reassure me and say, keep going. That would be that encouragement because it's like, okay, they've been through this path before. And I'm not, when I say been through that path, they've been through the path of achieving greatness and doing things like that. So I was very blessed and fortunate for that. But I came into a point in my life where I was around people who I thought was of greatness. They had already accomplished things that I wanted to accomplish, but they were definitely not mentor material as I thought it would be. Meaning that they didn't hold my hand, they didn't go and encourage me. What they did was did their work and they kept going, and that showed me how to keep going and to be focused on what I needed to do and not take things personal. What it didn't do is to help me regulate my emotions and how to release and recharge when this happened, because a lot of times when you get hurt, you'll let things build up. I know me, I'll let things build up. I'm good at compartmentalizing. I'm very good at that because I have to do a lot of things, and you cannot let things leak over. I don't care what anyone says. I used to get attacked by being a person that can compartmentalize very well. But it's a strength if you let it be. But if you have a lot of things, a lot of goals, a lot of things going on, you have to make sure that it doesn't go over into other puddles. And so, um, for me, you know, um, yeah, I was just good at that. I had people, manipulate me because I thought that they had more experience than me. And like I said, I closed off. And um, it helped for a minute, but after a while I still had to release because the things that I was trying to reach and trying to get, I couldn't get on my own. God puts things in people. So this is what I'm telling y'all. Step one, you have to go out and look for people. And when I say look for people, I'm not saying look for anybody that comes through. When I say look for people, I'm saying be intentional. If it's something that you want to do, go into that field and go into an area. Like for me, I'll tell you, for me, I had to get up and, I deal with mental health. So I went to NAMI, and I've been going to NAMI anyway for years because, I have a mother that, and a father that both have mental illness. So, just learning a lot about that, and then, getting introduced to the godparents, and, their experience with drugs and mental illness and all that, and I was just like, why is this happening? But it was, I had to keep going in that area because I had to learn as much as I could. I worked at shelters. I spoke at shelters. I knew how to create programming for students, students in like elementary all the way to high school level and young adults. But then I started doing programming for um, going into places to do programming for people with mental illness, people with developmental disabilities, things like that. Learning how to assist people with job coaching and transitional skills. That is the same thing you have to do with everything in your life now. You have to be intentional, but you have to open up. So you have to go into those places. Don't be afraid. It's gonna be scary. Also, another thing for me, I went into pageantry. I went back into pageantry, but I went where beauty queens go. Like what they say in Rome: do as the Romans in Rome. That's what you do. With my faith, I went to churches. I didn't try to, I went to a lot of churches. I went to a lot of Bible meetings, and that was kind of hard because here it's known as the city of churches, y'all. Fort Wayne is known as the city of churches. But I would tell you this: God is everywhere. God is everywhere. But somebody, baby, it ain't it. It ain't it. Okay. When I say it ain't it, textbook, it ain't it. Okay. Textbook, it ain't it. So I've had my share, and I'm glad I had that foundation because I wouldn't have known had I, had it happened before. And so, well, had I not had any education about, knowing about the living God and reading my word and understanding, and not just hearing what other people are saying, reading it and finding out for myself. Yeah, so put yourself in a position like that. The other thing, with my fitness goals, I went to the gym. Okay, I knew that if I'm by myself and I get to a certain weight and I'm not sick, if I'm sick, sometimes if it's past the point of sick, because it's people don't know when. Yeah, sometimes we overlook when our body tells us we're sick. Sometimes I'll push myself to the limits, but I'm saying when I was sick, when I had cancer, it was a whole different ball game because I had to almost start over. It was like a barely walking. I had to deplete everything out of my diet. But on a regular day, when I think I'm getting about 10, 20 pounds too heavy, I'm going in the gym and I'm going hard. Now, because this is what I've always said, when I get older, when I get close to 40, I'm not 40 yet, but when I get close to that, when I hit past 40, I wanted to be on a regimen, because it's harder dealing with gaining weight and losing weight. And then you have so many other things that you need to deal with. So that you want to already have regulated and have your systems already in place as far as what you want to do, how you're going to look, and what you want to do for that trajectory. A lot of people forget about that, and then you see the aftermath. So yeah, place yourself in places that is going to feed what you want to happen and cut off the things that don't. Another thing that I had to do, I had to stop hanging around people, and this is, I always teach the fence with this. I had to stop hanging around people who wanted to hang out and be on the doorstep or be on the porch. You want to show everybody love. You don't want to act as if you're better than anyone. But I will tell you that is a lot of time wasted on people who are doing the regular. They're watching 12 to 14 hours of television a week. So that means they're not reading in their word. They're not meditating. They're not getting. And when I say meditate, I'm not talking about some people do that. Some people get into their sequence. Meditation is so much bigger than that. It's getting closer to who is within. And yeah, it's getting closer to who you are within and who is with you. Because when you get in touch with yourself, you find out who God is. You find out who God is. You know, God will show you when you're trying to find out who you are. And that's where you find purpose. You know, so I had to get away from those people. Even though I wasn't doing it, I noticed that the little baggage, you know, I was bringing a lot of light into their world, which was nothing wrong with it. But if I wanted to keep my energy levels very much up, I couldn't spend, you know, more than 2 hours. And y'all, I don't really try to spend 2 hours with anybody. It just, all that hanging, sometimes it just can't do that every week, all week. It's not my portion. Ooh, excuse me, it's not my portion. And so, yeah, stop doing that. Stop doing that. And you think about it, if you calculate that time and you're doing even if you're doing 2 hours a week with them, you know, those 2 hours for 5 days equals 10 hours. You could take those 10 hours and you could be working out or working out together. Or you could take those 10 hours and begin writing a book. You could take those 10 hours and start doing your homework. You know, it's so much stuff that you could be doing to get yourself in the right position so everything can line up. Everything can line up. And so, yeah, that's what I started doing. Also, how to keep yourself to stay away from that and to keep yourself from being so absorbed, because it sounds like, okay, well, you'll do that, you'll be just stuck on yourself. No, because I'm telling you, when you do that and you meet other people, say for instance, you don't have a gym, you going out and walking, people are seeing that, there's going to be someone that is attached to you, someone that's going to see your light, see that you're doing something productive, and they're going to want to talk. Start a conversation with them. Find out more about them. You know, what they're into, and you will be surprised how many doors will open for you. You know, so don't worry about that. Like, just go into the right direction. Go into the right direction. Because they're going to always be people that are going to come to you. You can't be like, everybody's this and everybody's that. Because that's not the truth. Most people are. Most people that you see are not going to be doing anything. Most of them are not. I'm going to be honest. They're not. But there are productive people. And you only can see them when you're in motion. When you are in motion. So stay in motion. Okay? The other thing is, don't be afraid to go outside of your circle. Go outside of your city. If you heard, if anyone's read the Bible, it talked about, in the Bible, it was talking about, Jesus said that a man is, it talked about Jesus, it was talking about a man was, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to direct, it's not a direct quote, but it says, a man is, it was talking about how a man is appreciated everywhere except in his own house. And so some people, they grow up with you. Some people grow up with you, or they see you every day, and they don't see how great you really are. You know, they don't see the things that you do. They don't, and they think it, and then when they know that you do things, they think of it as common because it's common to them. It's common that you always get up and you always do things. It's common to them that you're always exceeding the expectations. You're doing something different. You're doing something drastic. That will let you down, because when people get used to it and they don't understand what, you know, it takes for greatness and separate who the person, you know, most people can't do that from what their attributes are from the actual person. They will treat you as an everyday or what they see every day, and think of it all as the same because they see it every single day. And so you want to make sure that you go out there and you get around like-minded people. Invest in yourself by going out. And I'm now, all this time I'm telling y'all how not to be self-absorbed, but it's feeding yourself. You're building yourself, but you're being around like-minded people. It's iron sharpens iron, okay? You cannot be, you know, a lot of those people that it made me feel better because I was no longer on the fence of things. I wasn't on the fence of things. I was direct, okay? And that's one of the things you're going to have to learn how to be very direct. It also helped me health-wise with that, because I said I no longer can do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this situation. I don't want to look like this. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to do any, you know, those things made me change my outlook. I don't like how people look at me a certain way. I don't like how, not only that, because I don't want people to be like, dang, Bill, that's kind of messed up. I don't like how I look a certain way. You know, if you're used to looking at yourself a certain way, and we know when we age, certain things like that, but I don't like how I look. So, and as far as health-wise, how do I do that? How do I be the best person that I can possibly be? And so, that's what you need to do. You know, you might want to go out and have a good time, but you want to have a good time around like-minded people. You can't be around people, can't go out to places and events or clubs or anything that around people who have nothing to lose. Okay? I'm going to put it just like that. Because that's what I witnessed, okay? Especially the field that I go in. This is dealing with integrity. My field deals mostly with integrity. It's like a mentor field. Like, people look up to you as a whole standard. Not to say that I'm God, but I am a reflection of him. I'm a reflection of what good manners is supposed to be. I'm a reflection of what hard work is supposed to be, steadfast, unmovable. You know, I'm a reflection of everything that is supposed to be represented. Why am I going to go around someone who doesn't hold those same values? So then when trouble arises, they're not going to be able to react the same way that you're going to react, okay? And what it's going to do, it's going to downplay your, it's going to bring down your moral standard, because they're going to be ready to act the fool, and you're going to, after a while, you're going to want to retreat and revert back to your old self. Because, you know, if that's who you hung around, you know that's that's in you too, that you could be that way. So, I have to tell y'all that. Like, and it was hard for me. It was very hard for me. Especially when you see people who cross you or do something crazy to provoke you to go into that, you know, that feeling and into that arena. But you have to make sure, you know, it might sound like you're being nagging Nancy, but it's honestly protecting you. It's protecting you, and you're no longer a kid. You know, in the Bible it says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I acted as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And that means that when you're a kid, when you're younger, you do things and you don't understand. You're being goofy. You don't understand the consequences that go around with that. But when you get older, you realize the effects of that. And you say, you know, you make a decision, you know, in order to be better, you can't do those things. The things that you could get away with and say, probably this won't happen to me. You look out for things that might fall and might trigger and might happen, just to protect yourself at all costs. At all costs, y'all. And so, don't be around people who don't have nothing to lose. And I'm not saying y'all gotta have the same amount to lose. You can have less. You can have even less to lose. Some people have more than you. They have less to lose. And that's kind of tricky, but I won't explain all that. I won't get into that. But you have to use discernment with that. Like, use discernment. And one good thing about being hurt and being traumatized and being attacked by people that are supposed to be helping you and doing all that, let me tell you something. Once you get the courage and you get up and you keep moving and you keep going, or and you've been already hurt, you've seen what happens. So you will see trigger signs before everybody else. You'll see them before everything else. You can hear it and they talk. You'd say, okay, oh, no, I don't want no part of that. You know, I don't want no part of that. Just like that. And so, that's okay. And this is all about setting, this is all about feeding yourself. This is not about self-isolation to the point where you're not around people. Because you're going to be around people. You're just going to be around like-minded people. People who have something to give. And they're willing to give, and they're looking for something to receive too. And it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be a give and take. And what you're gonna give them, what you don't know, God allows that to happen because you have something to give to them that's going to help them. And so, just don't be around people who are like-minded. You know, that might mean going outside of your city. When I started this group, you know, Hugs and Kisses, I got a little bit of support from Fort Wayne, but guess what? I didn't get a lot like a lot of people would think I did. Did that stop me? No. Did it stop the people who joined me? No. I kept going. I went to South Bend. I went to Elkhart. I went to Michigan City. I went to so many other places, and they welcomed me with open arms. And you'll be surprised how many people will come and join you in what your purpose is, and that's gonna build your self confidence up because a lot when especially when we are visionaries and we're builders as well. Some people can see the vision and it's like, okay, I know it's not for me, but I know the vision is coming, so they proclaim it and tell it. But I'm a person that I have to live out it. I'm the person that people can see the rest of it. Some people can tell you. So if you're like that, sometimes it gets to you because you can see the vision and you can see where you're at right now, and it hurts. It hurts because you know that you're not where you're destined to be. Even though you've came a long way, it will hurt you. So, yeah, stay around those people. Go out and venture. Go out and venture. Go to different places. It also talks about that in the Bible. It says, when you go into the city, it was talking about talking to the people, and if they reject you, dust the shoes, dust the dirt off your feet. Dust the dust off your shoulder and off your feet. So, yeah, go and dust your shoulders off. Go to the next one. I promise you, you will get, you will get help. You will get what you're looking for, because people will see how serious you are about what you proclaim to be. Not only that, that's going to give encouragement to the people who was looking behind and told you no, you couldn't do it, and it's going to trickle on down. So keep going, okay? So yeah. Last but not least, I want to, dang, it's already 26 minutes. Okay. Last but not least, I would honestly and highly recommend that you guys have a separate journal. If you haven't started journaling, I've always been journaling since I was about 6, y'all. I've always had a journal. That's what I got for my birthday. I love writing. So it's always a place to get my thoughts out, because I have a lot of abstract thoughts too. And a lot of people are like, what the heck? Years later, people are like, well, Bill, you know what? You don't sound so crazy at all. But, just getting it out and just, not being accepted for what you say, even if it is true, even if it's just your feelings, even if it's not true. I've learned to it's better to exhale it out and put it out of your system and get it out. Otherwise, it's going to ruminate in your head. It's going to ruminate in your lungs and in your heart, and it's going to go into your spirit, and it'll go into your gut too, and it leads to a whole thing of depression, all that other stuff. So I won't tell y'all all that because I'm not trying to get that deep. But yeah, get a separate journal after you start journaling, and once you get into that habit, baby, this is going to help you, because you aren't going to need so many outlets to tell everybody everything to go vent. Okay? Most of the times, if I need to super vent, it's because I haven't journaled and the journal is not there. But I have about 1 or 2 people that, I talk about things, and go to a therapist. Everybody is not for that, and don't be an emotional dumpster. But to be healthier, yeah, write a journal, y'all. So then you can see, when you get into a calmer state, you can also see what goes on. How do you feel during certain patterns and certain times? Even when you're making changes, your mind is going to do things. It's going to trip you up. So you want to look at write that journal, so then you can look back and say, okay, I was feeling angry during this time and the same thing was happening. What is going on? And so, yeah, keep a separate, I say a separate journal. This journal that I have one with my food, what I've eaten, and I just talk about the emotions. I put locations of where I was at, what was going on, how my emotions changed, but that's what I focus on. The first one that I have in the beginning of the day, it tells me, I write down everything, how I felt about the whole entire thing. But the second one is basically what I've eaten, because food is energy. It really is. Some of it is not energy, but nevertheless, food is you are what you eat. You are what you eat. and you'll start seeing a lot of changes if you're eating natural foods. I won't say organic foods. I will not say vegetarian. Y'all know that I was a vegetarian for a couple of years. That was what, 2009 to what, 2012. I was a vegan then. I was a vegetarian a little bit after that, and then I went back to meats. And y'all know I live in Indiana, so yeah, that's kind of not as self-explanatory, because there's still a lot of health things that come out here. But I live in a state that is very like homegrown. It's a lot of natural, I won't say organic, but things that haven't been compromised yet. There's still a lot of that hasn't been compromised yet, as far as the farming, stuff like that. So it doesn't make sense for me to go do that. Now, if I lived in the area, I lived in Indiana when I was a vegetarian too, a little bit. But I lived in an area that was more city. Like, y'all know, Gary, you cannot grow. People, I'm telling y'all, you cannot grow in your yard or in your backyard for the most part, fruits and vegetables. They just started making that okay. But back then, you could not. Like, unless it was like in the 80s and you had already got your property already stated for that, like years ahead. So yeah, you couldn't do that because of city limits, and they really had ordinances and statutes against this stuff. So look it up, y'all can see. But anywho, I live in a place, like I said, that has you can eat some really natural food. And yeah, so but even that, I have to be sometimes selective over what I eat and understanding what the foods do to you, because you might not even know that it's an actual allergic reaction. An allergic reaction is something that is not responsive to your body. So allergic reaction can mean mucus. Allergic reaction can mean that your eyes are sagging and puffing. Allergic reaction can mean brain fog. Can mean brain fog. And that can mess up your whole day. You can be in a good place, but if you ate something that's not going with you, or that's shutting your body down, how are you gonna feel? Or you're exercising and you got a freaking sugary shake that's like 5,000. Y'all, I'll be up there smashing McDonald's caramel frappes. I love them things. But if I have like even one of those now, back in the day it used to be like 2 or 3. If I have one of those, my body goes into, even though I'm still addicted to it, it goes into a whole nother spaz, you know. And so understanding putting what you are putting into your, not only putting into your mind, putting, you know, your body through, what you're putting in your mouth, is dictating how far you're going, how you're responding to your situations to make them better or worse. So that's my cup of tea on how to stay away from being self-absorbed. And I'm telling y'all, when your mind is clear, you can see so many things. Something might be really bad, but you can look at the good things. That's one thing that I've always had a good time to do. Like, I'm very good at looking at the best of things. People think like, oh, she's in La La Land, like she's ditzy, because she's always trying to look at the good things. But I notice when I get down, which is very rare, but when I do, it's really bad. Like, it's down, down, down. And before anyone says, is that bipolar? No, not for me. I've already been, you know, checked and, you know, all that other stuff. So, but like I said, I'm really an energetic person, and understanding what you put in your mouth and what feeds you and helps you to be more vibrant can make a big difference, y'all. And so that's what I wanted to leave with you guys. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. And thank you guys so much. Bye.